Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to finally bring my review of The Punisher Season 2 on Netflix. Yes, this is a very late review, but first, hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to talk about Season 2 of The Punisher. And yes, I know I didn't do a video on Netflix canceling all the Marvel shows. I may do that sometime in the future, but I posted about it on Facebook like 30 times as it was happening. I did my review of Daredevil Season 3, which is superb. And then they canceled Daredevil. Right after they had canceled Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Luke Cage and especially Iron Fist I can understand, but when they canceled Daredevil and then Jessica Jones and Punisher followed, you knew something else was up. Something just weird has gone on behind the scenes between Netflix, Marvel, and Disney. There's a few different accounts, pointing both ways, pointing at each other for it. Now there's a chance these shows could come back. Probably not on Disney Plus though, because I think they're gonna have more family-oriented content on there. But I've heard rumors and reports or different things from different sources saying how maybe somewhere like Hulu or perhaps FX could actually pick it up, but there's like a 2-year stipulation, so no one can do anything for at least 2 years. So thanks Netflix or whoever, I don't know. But yeah, really fucking sucks because they're such quality shows, especially Daredevil and Punisher and Jessica Jones too. So yeah, it's just a real kick in the balls. They're so good, they're so well received, yet this shit happens for reasons that aren't really the fault of the shows. So that makes it even more frustrating. But yeah, so I'll do a separate video on that sometime, I think. I'm just not sure when. I've just been so backed up on work and just trying to enjoy a bunch of other stuff as well. But I was really looking forward to this. It came out back on January 18th. I really loved the first season. And let me just say that right off the bat, Jon Bernthal is, again, an absolute master in this season. His performance throughout is just fucking phenomenal. I always have, I still have a soft spot in my heart for Thomas Jane as the Punisher in the 2004 film. That's one of my favorite movies of all time, actually, not just comic book wise either. But at this point, it's just hard to deny Bernthal. He just knocks it out of the park as the character. He nails every depth, every emotion, just every facet of the character so well. He portrays it so excellently. I can't describe it enough. Jon Bernthal is one of the greatest actors I've ever seen. Like, if I had to pick like the best actor in terms of emotion and rage and pain, I don't think I could put anyone over Jon Bernthal, honestly. And he's great here. And the season starts off interestingly enough. Some people complain about this, that he doesn't feel like the Punisher yet, or why isn't he just killing bad guys left and right? Why is he like soul searching, or why is he just kind of being like a drifter type of thing? I said this in the first season too. I just sort of look at it as sort of like a very human look at the character, more, I guess, sort of realistic version of what this guy could be like, what Frank Castle could be like. And I think that's true. There'd be a lot of, it's just a real look at this guy's psyche through all the trauma he's been through. And I think if we would have gotten a third season, or maybe the third season we maybe get eventually somewhere, I think you'll see more of like the straight-up Punisher that a lot of people have been waiting for. But I, for one, do, for the most part anyway, appreciate, sort of, again, the more human look at this kind of character. And he starts off, he's trying to sort of give himself another chance, but that actually doesn't end up working because he both can't. Both because of what his life is involved in, that what's pulling him back in, but also because of his own, sort of natural instincts to act on certain things. But I really enjoyed the premiere. I think the first episode is one of the best episodes of the whole season. I just really enjoyed it, and again, Jon Bernthal is just such a good actor. It's sort of like that scene with Micro in the first season where Micro was drinking, but then they started kind of laughing together. When Bernthal laughs, and when Frank laughs, you feel it, and it makes me grin. This makes me feel good to see him like a happy in any way whatsoever. It gets me in the heart. And it was great to see Alexa Davalos here, who sort of plays a possible love interest for the character in the beginning of the season, and maybe periodically throughout. A lot of people know her from The Man in the High Castle. If you're really a fan of Bernthal, though, you also would remember them starring together on a show called Mob City a few years ago, which was on TNT from Frank Darabont and everything. A good series that was canceled after one season. It was a 6-episode thing. Check it out if you find some way to. But yeah, it's actually really great to see them together again. And they're really good together here. Yeah, she's an excellent actress as well. But of course, you know, like the nature of the character, he sort of eventually kind of pushes that away, or eventually realizes he can't really let himself fall back into that, or maybe he just can't, you know, because he just can't be that regular person anymore, and he is reminded of that again, unfortunately, throughout the season, both from himself and, again, other sources. But yeah, and you know, I'm going to say more overall what I thought about the season in a couple minutes here, but I'm just trying to touch on some main points of the season, or at least characters. Let's see. Okay, I probably should have had this name up already, but here we go. Yep, Josh Stewart as John Pilgrim. I particularly know him from some of those collector and collection movies, but he's done a lot of other stuff as well, of course. One of our two sort of antagonists for the season. He's a bit of a mystery, sort of wrapped up in this, Amish, I guess, kind of way of living and such, and he has a special assignment. His wife's sick. He does a work for a certain, wealthy type of family that he's been wrapped up in for most of his life. So a decent perspective there. I liked him alright. I mean, I think Josh Stewart did a fine job in the role. I don't think the character was necessarily particularly that interesting, but you're really waiting for him and Frank to clash, and when they do, it's just really as hard-hitting as he'd want. And that's another thing. The fight scenes in the season were great, even again from that first episode. Just the choreography was really, really nicely done. Even just again in that bar in that first episode, in the bathroom, that was really, really handled well. And of course, he still had Billy Russo this season, who a lot of people were complaining about as well, because he doesn't look basically like Freddy Krueger or like he does in the comic books, and people seem to forget that he was actually in an actual hospital, and he was treated, his face was surgically repaired, so it would look more clean and put together, but he still carries a lot of like fractured bits of his mind. At first he doesn't fully remember what happened, and he's being evaluated for that by a certain character. This therapist character, I forget her name, by the way, but her and Russo kind of end up having the story together, and that part was alright. It did make maybe a little bit too much time spent on it, but it did really make you think about different angles, even from Russo's perspective, so I did appreciate that. But yes, I didn't have a problem. Again, Ben Barnes as Russo, I think he's very good. I think I might have said this before, but other than Kingpin, I think he's the best villain we've seen in any of these shows. So I didn't mind having more of him. And actually really liked how his story concluded this season as well. Gave me just enough of what I wanted, then sort of stopped it, or just wrapped it up in a quick but understanding fashion. And I did really enjoy how his arc was handled this season. Excuse me. And then of course I also have to talk about Amy, played by Georgia Wingham. I just want to make sure I'm getting the names right. Alright, yeah. But yeah, she was a big part of this season. We didn't see any more of Micro this season, which, is kind of disappointing, because her and Frank did develop a good dynamic with each other. But again, I feel like if we got that third season, the show went on, he went more into a Punisher mode. I could have seen Micro being brought back into it. But realistically, it didn't have to happen right away because Frank won't want to bother him. That he's with it, with him being with his family again. But yeah, anyway, Amy, she's kind of a frustrating character at first because she doesn't trust Frank and she has sort of her own, past and sort of the issues that's tied to her. So she kind of goes against what Frank tells her to do for a while, and yeah, that's kind of frustrating in a typical way. But as it goes on, her and Frank really do develop a pretty nice bond with each other because, of course, the family he lost, and it eventually develops into, maybe like a father-daughter dynamic with them. And they do have some fine banter with each other. I think Wingham does do a really nice job in the role. She never gives a bad performance necessarily. I think it's just the character sort of growing as the story goes. So I did like her. And yeah, those are the main story, or at least the main character bits of the season. The story itself, I liked, you had the Russo thing going, Pilgrim, Amy, everything like that. But for me, the season story didn't feel quite as focused as the first. I mean, I know some people have complained before that the first season felt more like a spy, or like a Bourne type of, type of thing. But for me, I just sort of like the initial, him going after Agent Orange, and that felt like very zeroed in on. Whether you think it had too many episodes or not, I kind of like that initial bit. This one kind of lacked that focus for me. It was a bit more spread out, a bit more sort of divided in different areas of what's going on in this world. Not areas literally, but just went in a few more directions, and it didn't feel quite as, again, focused. But I still enjoyed it. I think the best of the season was probably the first few episodes, and then, people complained about this a lot, like the first 3 or 4 are really good, but then it took a nosedive after that. I'm not really saying that. I actually do like the slower bits because, again, Bernthal is just phenomenal. And you gotta, I like maybe some of these Netflix shows should maybe be 10 episodes a season. I don't know. No less than that, though. Any less than that would be kind of rushed, in my opinion. Because you gotta be able to have those slower moments with the characters and actually be able to feel for them, or at least explore and make it feel like a real sort of thing you're seeing. And I think people just sort of lack patience nowadays. All they want to see is action, 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 guns, bullets, explosions, blood, everything. And you get that this season. There's still some really brutal fights in it. And I think it's very satisfying on all ends as far as that goes. But yeah, and I also like Curtis this season as well. He plays a good role into it. Actually, he probably gets more screen time this season than he did last season. And I think the actor does a good job. You have a little bit of Deborah Ann Woll as Karen Page. She appears a little bit. Although, again, I think she had more interesting things to do in the first season, even though her appearance in that was even briefer. But still, seeing her is good. So yeah, I think I actually might have preferred the first season of The Punisher to this one, but I still really, really liked it. And again, Bernthal is phenomenal, but there's sort of like an awkward scene that came across a little bit weird for me. Russo ends up recruiting these guys into his group, and they end up ambushing Frank at one point, and kind of lights going on and off in this sort of garage type area. And just like there's some like shots, people have made memes of this as well with like Bernthal's like surprised, or I don't know if I want to say scared facial expressions or whatever. It feels a bit over the top, a little bit silly with the way it shows him reacting to them jumping at him and such. I know he's just a he's a guy, he's gonna like have like reflexes and stuff where he can't help what he looks like when he sees something coming, but I don't know. Sometimes Bernthal's great, but sometimes a bit overdone. I don't know. Oh God. See, I feel bad, or I feel almost off even criticizing anything or critiquing any little bit about what he does. But yeah, besides that, I just gotta emphasize again, Bernthal, I think he's one of the very greatest actors I've ever seen, be it in TV or film. But yeah. So yeah, overall I think it was good. I don't think I can say it's better than Daredevil Season 3. The only reason I could is just because I love the character of the Punisher so much. like I said, I do think I like the first season of The Punisher a little bit more. And I still do really love Daredevil season 2. That still might be my favorite Netflix Marvel season, just because he had Daredevil in there, but then he had the Punisher at the same time, and then he had a little bit of Fisk too. So it feels like a really good mixed season there. And I even liked Elektra. So for me, it's like Daredevil season 2, Punisher season 1, Daredevil season 3, kind of around the same for me. And then maybe get Punisher season 2 and Daredevil season 1 and Jessica Jones season 1 and such. And I even like Jessica Jones season 2. Kill me. But yeah, so if I had to rate, and like I didn't feel like it, again, it's kind of just that initial story, because you can't really top or like replicate, you know, Frank getting to Agent Orange and just how great that episode 12 home episode was in the first season. You know, I didn't expect them to match that somehow. It doesn't make sense, you know, part of the story is part of that story, and that doesn't happen again. So but it just didn't have like any quite as impactful moments as that first season did towards the end. But I still really liked it, and it's just, again, just damn really fucking frustrating that we're not going to get more seasons of the shows as they should have. Hopefully something changes in the next couple years, who knows, and it goes somewhere else, I'm not sure. But for now, overall, I'm rating Punisher season 2 about a B+ or A- or an 89%, 92%, somewhere in there. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about Punisher season 2. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.